Train the muscles, not the joints.
Welcome back to Natural Gallant Bodybuilding. Mountain. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the bodybuilding journey, and this is stemming from a message that I received on Instagram from a guy. And this is not an original message. I mean, I've received this many times before from people who basically tell me that they're frustrated with their lack of results in certain areas, or they've been training for a period of time and they feel like they should have had a lot more results than they do. And of course, they're comparing themselves to people with different genetics, some people with different situations altogether, and this sort of thing. So, and in this particular case, this guy has been training pretty consistently for 7 years, but he said he had to take 2 years off because he had a mild stroke somewhere amidst all of the training. And at the same time, he's trying to tell himself that he's supposed to be at an elite level, and he's frustrated with his lack of gains, and he's not taking into account that he had a stroke. Like as you can see, there's no compassion for himself in this scenario. And this is something I've seen over and over again, where people will look at themselves and then not take their own individual circumstance into account and realize that they basically made superhero gains. I mean, they healed from horrible accidents, horrible injuries, and they got results and look half decently in shape, but somehow they're not taking into account that they basically, returned from the grave from a massive physical debilitation of some sort, right? So there's a few guys on this channel who have been through hell and back that watch this channel. And one thing I want to say to you guys is to not compare yourself to me or to anyone else, because you have your own individual challenges that you have to take into account when it comes down to what type of results you can expect in a certain period of time. Now, I think the sky's the limit for you. I think you should always try to aspire to get better. But the problem is with this attitude that I see is that people aspire to get better, but they turn that into a misery path, right? They'll look at somebody else that looks better than them, or they'll look at themselves and be frustrated with their lack of results, and then use that as an excuse to be frustrated and suffer all the time, rather than look at the gains that they have made and the progress that has happened over the years of training. And this is really what I'm coming to, is that this is a path of not comparing yourself to other people. It's not a path of comparing yourself to people with different genetics, different situations. It's a path of comparing yourself to yourself. And once you start to embrace that, then you start to enjoy the journey. And once you start to embrace that, you start to look at where you're getting results. And the results are not necessarily muscular size or strength. Sometimes they're nothing more than a greater connection to the body and a greater level of enjoyment from training. Because these are the most important results: better connection to the body and more enjoyment from training itself. Now, if you enjoy what you're doing, and this is why this is so important, if you enjoy what you're doing, you're going to spend more time doing it, or you're going to have an easier time disciplining yourself doing it, right? You're not going to be fighting this frustration of, oh man, I got to go to the gym today. I still don't look like Mr. Olympia. It's just horrible. I'm putting myself through all this pain and effort, and I'm still not getting the results I want. What's the point, right? It's a recipe for disaster. It will destroy your ability to get any results. That's why back in the day, back in the 80s when I started training, consistently anyway, I trained a little bit when I was 5, a little bit when I was 8, that kind of stuff. But I really started consistently when I was 14 years old training, and I never quit from then on. But during that time, I was just training in the garage, and sure, I had magazines to compare myself to, right? I had like the Rich Gasparis and the Mike Matarazzos and, the Lee Haneys and Sean Rays and all this stuff. And I would see those guys and I would look at them as a source of inspiration, but not as frustration. So what I'm going to say to you is that if you're looking at anybody on the internet or anywhere and it's a source of frustration for you instead of inspiration, either stop watching them, right? Or find a way to change your point of view about the situation. Say, this is what this person did. Wow, that looks really cool. I really love what they've done. You know, from a creative point of view, I really love the work of art that they've created. Now it's time for me to work on my canvas, and my canvas is going to look like something that's specifically my individual piece of art. It's not going to be the exact same as that, although there are some great works of art out there to inspire you, right? So if you dare to just be compassionate with yourself and allow yourself to enjoy this process, some results, and some surprising results, will come to you. And sometimes you're still learning. 30 years later, you're still learning something about your own body, or still, you know, adjusting and dancing with it accordingly in order to get some better results. But if you are constantly frustrated, you won't last the 30 years to start getting the moments of inspiration that come to you, right? The point is, you're not always aware of what's happening in your body and the amount of things that you've overcome. Sometimes through taking care of your health, you've defeated cancer, diabetes, you know, and many other afflictions and problems altogether, and your immune system and your health has been positive enough or strong enough to deal with those things. And maybe during those periods of time, it has not put on as much muscle as you want. Maybe your body has not put the resources into that. But the truth is that you've probably defeated many enemies in the process. So once you start looking at it like that, you start to realize that this is a path of perpetual victory, not of defeat. It's only once you start micromanaging, saying, oh, I need a vein right here in my forearm, and if I don't have a vein there, then my bodybuilding journey has been a failure, right? It's all about your perspective. And when you look too close at only one detail, you miss the overwhelming benefit that has come to you from training and from, you know, eating in accordance with what's in harmony with your body. So what I'm really saying is, don't lose inspiration because of a limited point of view or an improper perspective. Remember to let go of the details once in a while. You know, so many times I've seen guys where they're like, oh, I wish my arms were bigger. Meanwhile, their chest or their back or their legs have grown like crazy. In a last period of time, they've made massive results, but instead they're just fixating on where they didn't get results. I'm saying focus on, from a positivity standpoint, focus on what you're getting results in and see what have you done right in those areas, and perhaps there will be some sort of transfer of logic to other muscle groups that may assist you. But in the end, realize this is a path of connection with the body first and foremost, not about just shaping it to your will, right? It's about connecting with the body and enjoying the muscular pump. Now, I don't know how many of you guys out there who have had injuries who were sidelined for a period of a month or two or 6 months or whatever. But I guarantee you, during those times, you won't be quite so fixated on, oh, I wish my muscles were bigger. A lot of times you're focused on, wow, I just wish I felt better. I miss the feeling of the muscles contracting. I miss the feeling of the blood flowing through everything. I miss that feeling of that burn and that pumpy and lumpy feeling, right? That's what you want to focus on. And if you focus on that, then the rest will come to you. But do not focus on things that put you in a negative frame of mind, because it's not going to help. And honestly, it's self-abusive. You know, it's pretty much being abusive to yourself. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Like, if you're getting frustrated, don't worry about it. This is the long path. It's not the short-term path. Don't worry about it if you're older. I'm starting to put on chest size now after trying many different techniques over a period of the last 20 years since I dislocated my shoulder, right? And now finally I'm starting to put chest size on. You know, I had a torn rotator cuff over here and it was affecting my bicep size on my left side, and I'm starting to actually put size on my bicep again. So these things will come to you. You just got to stick with it. Just stick with it and just trust in the process, but don't allow frustration to take over the whole game. You know what I mean? That just means that you're limiting your perspective and you're assuming that you know everything about what's going to happen in the future. So yeah, those are my wise words for you today. Mountain. So I hope this helped out in your training. Thanks a lot for watching. If you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalgallantbodybuilding.com, and thanks to the Patreon supporters, and take care for now. And oh yeah, I got a podcast up there on Patreon, so if you want to check that out, it's only $5 a month, and you get to tune into the podcast Natural Gallant Bodybuilding podcast. It's quite a gem, I must say. I got bit by a few mosquitoes out here. You might be wondering why I look so pumped. That's the mosquitoes pump me up. Oh yeah. So you guys just need to get bitten by mosquitoes. That's a secret. Eh? Have a mild allergic reaction to mosquitoes. Oh yeah. Eh? The mosquito allergic reaction pump. I'm not gonna lie though. There are worse things back there than mosquitoes. I'm gonna have to come back here tonight and make sure I clear the woods of danger for my next shoot. So most of the time the monsters, they come out at night because then you can't see them coming. But lucky for me, I have some sort of spider sense per se, and I can detect whether they're sneaking up on me or not. I know they're out here right now. This is usually the time they hunt. Just what I thought. Exercise rocks. Looks to me like they've been preparing for my arrival. And it's not a good sign. Just what I thought. An exercise stick. The worst part about this is not because they're training and preparing for my arrival, but worst part is that they didn't buy this stick from my website. That's truly horrifying. There's nothing worse than cheap monsters. Nothing.